What is going on, guys? If you're doing another video, and welcome back to another episode of Umineko When They Cry. In the last episode, oh my god, a lot of stuff happened. So, Kinzo, the family head, was found burned alive. Well, not burned alive, he actually got stabbed first, but whatever. Eva was stabbed in the forehead with an ice pick, which is really shocking, because I thought she was the culprit. Hideyoshi was like that too, and Cannon kinda got stabbed. He's still alive at the moment, but yeah, a lot of stuff has happened. The amount of possible culprits has been very limited, and yeah, I don't know what to think anymore. Let us continue. This room had also become a vital crime scene for us to hand over to the police. It was decided that we would leave Grandfather's corpse here and lock the room, sealing it. It isn't clear when Grandfather's corpse started burning in the incinerator. Since according to Gainsey, the strength of the flames hadn't been that strong, the body... Well, I mean, it would have to be after he went missing. So that stance could slowly creep out of the furnace. I kind of like how he died when he was just like, I shall win the demon's roulette, and now he's dead. Lol. Putting aside whether he was rare or well done. Amazing joke. Grandfather had been brought out, killed, and burned, even though he had started out locked away in the closed room created by his auto lock. There's probably no doubting this. However, according to Gainsey's son, the boiler room is usually locked. The possibility that someone outside our group had snuck in and committed the crime was overwhelmingly high. And there was also a good chance that this person was walking around with something like a master key. After all, doors and windows throughout the mansion had been checked. Despite that, the culprit was able to strut around the mansion freely. This is not good. Does this crime confirm that a 19th person exists? Nonsense, it was witches! Nah, it's not witches. There's still a contradiction since they're trying to tout their existence whether ever showing themselves once. Along with Kiri-san's chessboard theory. Oh my god, are you going to flip the chessboard for the 50th time? I've been using this contradiction to deny the existence of a 19th person. By spinning the... Yep, he's doing it again! The very fact that this crime makes it perfectly obvious that a 19th person exists means that the existence of the 19th person is even less plausible. As long as that 19th person doesn't show themselves in front of us. If the culprit could get Grandfather out through the door sealed by the receipt, if they could kill Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi from the other side of the door sealed by a chain, then could they possibly go as far as to create a fictional 19th person? Honestly, yeah. If we still want to believe that the culprit is among the 18, then the list of suspects is going very... Actually, hold up. If I flip the chessboard around, wouldn't it be easier for the culprit to fake their death? Instead of, like, having to play a role? I mean, for all we know, one of the people in the shed could have been a fake. Because their heads were smashed. Now, I have no doubt that Eva and Hideyoshi were killed. I mean, it was very obvious. And I don't doubt that Kinzo was killed. So, unless I, like, see the dead body, I'm going to doubt it. The four of us kids, Aunt Natsui, Genji-san, Kumasawa Bachan, and Dr. Nanzo. One of these people has to be the culprit. Wait, we can't be sure of that. Just a second ago, we started doubting whether the corpse here was actually Grandfather's, right? Maybe we could think of the other... Yeah! By the way, I already thought of this. For example, the first 6 had their faces horribly smashed. Some of the bodies had kept enough of their faces for us to confirm who they were, but that old bastard... Okay. Has lost his entire face, as though the whole thing had been neatly peeled off. We only figured out which body was which by their clothes and surroundings. Did the culprit prepare... Yeah! Okay. Hold up. If that does happen, then that means... Wasn't Nanzo going around with the body? I don't know why I'm so suspicious of him. I just... Like, he said that he couldn't do anything. At least I thought they said he couldn't do anything. And then he goes around with all of the bodies just like... They're dead. It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I think that he could have faked it and been an accomplice, but I don't know yet. It's too early to give this to the 19th person. No, this witch. Beatrice. I can't do the voice well. I'm kinda with her. You've been freaking everyone the fuck out recently.
カノンの容体も気になりますし、いつまでもこのようなところにはいられません。戻りましょう。
Maria didn't go out with everyone else but remained in the boiler room. The thing she was staring at so fixedly probably wasn't Grandfather's body, but the demon's ice pick. Oh. It's probably the sort of item that an enthusiast couldn't bear to ignore. I tapped her on the head.
おい、マリエ、ベアトリーチェの目的は何？俺たち全員の命か。
All we have to do is say Beatrice and then she just changes.
ベアトリーチェはもうすぐ蘇るんだよ。
Oh yeah, wait, that's part of the epitaph. Hold up. Tips, epitaph. It's really handy that they have that. On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive and none shall be left alive. Okay, so we've gotten to these wait, to praise my noble name. It's... I don't know, I feel like these are like, could they happen on the same night? Like, I feel like they've already kind of... I can't tell if that means Kinzo or Beatrice, but both have kind of been, like, praised a little, so that means... Gouge the head... Wait, no, but... They did gouge the head. Okay, and canon was... Okay, I really think that the Twilights doesn't matter on specific days. After all, the boat's gonna come the next day, so... That means the next is probably gonna be gouge the stomach, then gouge the knee, and gouge the leg, and then the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. Oh, that's gonna kill everybody. And then the chimneys, and you'll obtain the power of the Golden Land's treasures. Damn. Okay, then.
その時、誰も生き残りはしない。
よくも笑えるもんだぜ。自分だけ蚊帳の外だと思ってるのか。どうして自分の身に危機が迫っていると感じない？どうして怯えない？
ベアトリーチェは約束してくれたもん。マリアは黄金郷へ連れて行ってもらえるんだよ。そこはね、しがらみも何もないすべての人たちがずっと一緒にいつまでも優しくし合っていける素敵な場所なんだよ。マリアは楽しみだよ。その時はもうすぐだもん。
Slap the child again. Oh. Just what kind of person is Maria? I only know what Maria was like 6 years ago when she was 3. She was once pure and obedient, a good kid. This new Maria 6 years later, and the Maria I knew didn't seem to fit together. Just who is this witch who calls herself Maria? To Maria, who obstinately believes in the witch, this series of unsolvable crimes is proof that the witch actually exists. Every time something occurs that would be difficult for a human, it becomes a little harder for the rest of us not to believe in Beatrice. It must be an intense pleasure. Oh my god, that's great. Is that why she's in high spirits? Oh my god.
もう一遍だけ聞く。どうせ答えは同じだろうが、もう一遍だけ聞く。お前は昨日バラ庭園で手紙をもらった。そいつは誰なんだ？
おお、だからベアトリーチェ。
I don't still believe. I don't believe in your little saint. Maria only repeated what she's already said. Maria met with the 19th person, the witch. Was that really a 19th person, or did one of us get... It's probably like, she could have been tricked easily. She's simply overjoyed at being made Beatrice's messenger, and certainly isn't the 19th person, supposedly. Wait, that could be a plot twist. Oh yeah, the letter! Shit, we gotta go get the letter! Quit dialoguing and go get the letter now! Oh, yep, figured that was coming. If the scene hangs on for... Wait, what? That clock isn't positioned right on the screen. It makes me very upset. Very upset. Okay, so... Yeah, someone's gonna get gouged in the stomach, if I'm right. In the end, Canon-kun did not regain consciousness. Yup, that was the noise. Another person has passed away. Found in the boiler room with a weapon resembling an ice pick stabbing out of his chest. How presumptuous of woolly furniture like that. Ah. Oh my god, there's so many dead people. This entire row is dead. This row, is fine, kind of. This row is unaffected. Well, I mean, these are the protagonists. I doubt that they're gonna die. Watch Jessica die next, and then you just get really pissed off. Even though Dr. Nanzo and the rest did all they could to heal him, of course there was very little that could be done now and like this without medicine or proper... However, Kin was only human to confront the culprit, if he could give us some kind of clue. However, at the time they carried Kin away, it was already too late.
申し訳ありません。
What?
いえ
You're full of sin.
無理もないことです
I really think he's
最
lying.
善を尽くしてくださりありがと
Dr.
うございま
Nanzo should have
し
been
た
sprayed by a violent spurt of blood, so it was easy to imagine the devotion in which he tried to save Ken's life up until the last second. Jessica was crouched in the corridor, crying softly. Ah, yes. That's usually what Jessica is. She had probably been taking care of Ken and Kun until the moment of his death. Wait, but the thing that... Like, why was it a black screen at his death? Normally, like, when a character dies, everyone's overreacting. It seems like... I don't know, that's suspicious. George and Nikki tried to approach her with words of comfort, but when Jessica pushed them away, he stopped trying to force her to talk and left her alone. Yeah, no, we're all kind of shaken up.
カノンさんを一人で行かせなければ
You probably threw the knife. You're the only person who could have thrown it. You literally was just like, I'm going to the basement. Went in the basement, disappeared for a solid 10 minutes, and then came back just like, okay, I climbed down the stairs. Where are you?
気に病むことはない。仮に一緒だったら熊沢も襲われていたかもしれん。それに愚かにも先走ったゆえの
Foolishly.
自業自得だ。
そんな言い方
Yeah,
ないぜ
come on, Jessica, kick his ass.
カノン君は犯人の姿を見つけて勇敢に立ち向かったんだ熊沢さんも一緒だったら
Eat the furniture.
犯人は躊躇して逃げることを選んだかもしれない
Emotion filled with words that I never thought I'd hear coming from Jessica's mouth tumbled out. Kumasawa looked truly sorry, could not do nothing but hang her head.
ジェシカ
今は言葉をかけるべきじゃない僕だって。そしてバトラ君もだろう。
I feel like Bida was the least emotionally attached. Like, I mean, George and Jessica pretty much lost everyone except for Natsui. Battler lost his parents early on, but he's too busy playing with his chessboard.
わからなくて心が張り裂けそう
Is
だ。
there a pierce to hurt and kill? These were tears in George and Nikki's eyes again. Seeing Jessica break down crying probably brought back the pain of losing his parents. I'd done my crying all at once, so I didn't feel like crying anymore. However, I understood how great the pain and their hurts were.
大丈夫だよジェシカカノンにだってまたすぐ会えるよ
よしてくれよそういう慰めはいらねえぜ
ベアトリーチェは死者も失ったアイスらも蘇らせ
Okay,
る
this is too
だ
cruel.
からきっとすぐに会えるよそしてきっとみんなで穏やかに過ごせるから
カノン君を殺したのがマリアに昨日手紙を渡したっていうベアトリそいつはどこにいるんだどこに隠れてるんだよ私が見つけて引き裂いてやる
I don't know.
言えよ知ってるんだろ犯人の正体を
Oh, yup, the child has been slapped again by the third
お前
person.
は何を知っていて何を隠してるんだ話しやがれ
Oh, yup. Oh my god. I kind of feel bad, like, but I kind of don't at the same time.
お嬢様、おやめください。
No, hit him.
ベアトリーチェはいる
Oh my, you can't keep playing this card.
畜生源氏さんマリアが犯人を知ってるしかもそいつは知ってて隠してるんだそして俺たちの内情を伝えて殺しの手引きをしてるに違いないんだぜ
ジェシカ静かにしなさい
Jessica grabbed at Maria. Genji tried to stop her, but Jessica could not be calmed. The next thing I heard was the sound of Aunt Natsui slapping Jessica's face. After that, only Jessica's sorrowful, sobbing voice resounded throughout the hallway.
マリアちゃん、僕は君が断じて犯人ではないこと君はいつも僕たちと一緒にいたし犯人なんかと通じている時間
Haha,
はなかった
that's a lie. That's a lie, because they were the person who met them first.
聞かせてほしい
Do
君に
not-
昨日手紙を渡したベア
Oh
トリー
my
チェとは
god. You aren't gonna get an answer. He didn't actually grab at her. However, he felt exactly the same way Jessica did.
兄同じことは俺もさっき聞いたぜ返事は同じさ
マリアちゃんの口から聞きたいベアトリーチェとは誰なんだい
言ってもどうせ信じない
それはどういう意味だいひょっとして僕らのよく知る人物が犯人君は何かの事情からそれをかばうために黙っているという君は あの手紙を誰にもらったんだい？
ベアトリーチェにもらったんだよ。何度だって言う。手紙はベアトリーチェにもらった。
Oh my
ジョージお
god.
兄ちゃんがベアトリーチェを信じないのは殴れる相手じゃないから。ジョージお兄ちゃんはやるせない気持ちを
This is
暴力に変え、だから殴れる
Everyone's
相手が
crying.
人間じゃな
Maria's
きゃ
just like,
収まり
haha,
がつかない。
funny.
だからそんなジョージお兄ちゃんには真実を話してもだから言っても無駄。信じない。でもマリアは何度も言うよ。真実だから言うよ。ベアトリーチェはね。黄金鏡の扉はもうすぐ開かれるよ。マリアはそこにベアトリーチェが約束してくれたの。その世界ではママも優しくてパパも一緒で優しいの。マリアは早くそこへ行きたいの。みんなはベアトリーチェのことを恐れ、そしてそれは無理もないことだけど。なら安心して。ベアトリーチェは言ってたよ。台風が去るまでに全てを終わらせるから。
That's ominous. Did George do it?
饒
No,
舌な
Battle
マ
did
リア
it.
も嫌いじゃねえが、とりあえずはそのくらいにしとけ。魔女はいるいる言ってたお前にとってさぞや現状は愉快だろうが、とりあえずそいつはお前だけで噛み締めとけ。他人にまで押し付けるんじゃねえ。
こいつ
Yeah.
前から気持ち悪い
Jessica's
や
like
つだと
full
思
on
ってたけど
scenes because at first like she was the one defending the thing. The second most. George was like full on. Yeah, witches exist, and she was just like, yeah, witches exist, but it's fucking funny.
おかしいぜ。どっかおかしいぜ。バトラは思わねえのかよ。ケンジさんは
I agree.
黒沢さんは
I agree
母さん
with
はどう
that.
だよ。マリアは犯人の正体を知ってて隠してる。確かに直接手を下してるわけじゃないかもしれない。でも間違いなく犯人の一味だぜ。そうさ、スパイさ。私たちと一緒になんかいさせられないぜ。
マリアちゃん、不謹慎な話を慎むべき時もあることを知りなさい。これ以上混乱に油を注ぐような真似が過ぎれば。
I'm naturally good at Maria with frightening eyes. Maria was used to Aunt Rosa's loud style of scolding, but she apparently hadn't built up resistance to Aunt Natsu's quiet sort of scolding. She shrugged and kept her mouth shut. A desolate feeling filled the room. It felt as though things would just get more complicated if anyone spoke. How many people have already died? 6 people in Dad's groups. After that, both Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi, Ken and Kun, grandfather. There was a whole 18 people on the island supposedly, and 10 of those people have been killed. That's more than half of us. And right now, there's absolutely no proof that the remaining 8 people will be safe. We should all just get into a room with guns and just chill.
今は仲違いをしている時ではあ
Oh
りま
yes.
せん。
She has her gun
犯
again.
人が神出鬼没に屋敷内を出入りしていることが間違いなくなった今、私たちは明日まで身を守ることだけに専念しなくてはなりません。
Yeah, no, I agree. We need to, like, get into a safe room. And if we're all in the safe room, without leaving once, we'll be fine. Like, just get a bunch of food, take turns sleeping.
夏日おばさんに極めて同感だぜ。犯人探しは今夜ゆっくりできるさ。今はどこで籠城するかを考えた方がいい。
As I said this, I pointed out the clock to everyone. It was already 8 at night. We had been receiving shocks over and over again since early in the morning, and our bodies and minds were both completely tired out. There's still a long time until tomorrow. We had to find some place to barricade ourselves in so we could rest our bodies and get even the smallest amount of relief.
私も同感。私も含め、もうみんな体も心も限界まで打ちのめされています。
I say we split into groups. Everyone who isn't a cousin or Aunt Natsui go to hell.
今からそれを考えた方が賢明でしょう。
Seriously, though, the servants are suspicious. I don't think Maria is the culprit, but it just bothers me when she's in,
敵は
like, any
マスターキーに
scene.
準ずるものを持っている公算が高い。
シャノンやカノン君、ゴーダさんはマスターキーを持ってましたか？
はい。勤務時間中だったなら身につけていたはずです。
That makes it easy. They could have just taken it from Shannon when she died.
現場をいじらない方がいいってんで、そこまでは調べなかったのが。 誰かの鍵が奪われている可能性は否定できねえな。
Oh my god, Battle, you finally did it without spinning around your fidget
そもそ
spinner.
も犯人はバラ庭園倉庫のシャッターを開けるために一度使用人室を訪れている可能性があります。そこでマスターキーをすでに入手していると考えて間違いないでしょう。
There were many servants serving the Yoshima family. Because of that, there were several master keys. Furthermore, every time one employee started or finished work, the keys would pass between servants, and we had to acknowledge that this. Oh, that's gonna make this difficult.
仮に殺された使用人の誰かのポケットからその鍵でも開けられない安全な場所はあるのか。
私たちはお仕事の都合上すべてのお部屋の鍵を預かっております。
That just incriminates
お
them
屋敷
more.
もゲストハウスもすべてです。
つまり私たちはどこへ立てこもって鍵をかけようと
That's not true. What if you barricade the door?
上等だぜ。鍵なんかいるもんか。来るなら来やがれってんだ。
Okay.
返り討ちにしてやるぜ。
Yeah, come on, Jessica.
敵は正面から来
Fight
ない
the
よ。
culprit. I know why I like
最初の
Jessica so
6人は
much.
ともか
I
く
just all ate.
母さんたちやカノ君、そしておじい様の霊を見る限り敵は孤立した人間だけを狙ってる。一部屋に固まっている僕たちのところへ堂々と乗り込んで来られるほどの力はな
That
いんだ。
is true. If everyone got into a room, we'd have to be safe.
兄貴の言う通りだ。ひょっとするとおばさんのライフル銃が抑止効果として成立してるのかもしれないぜ。
なら良いのですが。
マリア、言いたいことがあるんだろうが、そいつは飲み込ん
Yeah, I
でしばら
agree.
く黙ってろ。
おー
Maria probably wanted to say something about how witches weren't afraid of things like guns, but if she would have said it out loud, the atmosphere around here would get pretty edgy. I had noticed and decided to put a stop to it.
よろしいでしょうか。一箇所だけ使用人の鍵束でも入れない場所
それはどこです？
が。はい、親方様の書斎です。
私はハンダじい様の気持ち悪い部屋になんか入りたくない。
あの部屋に入れる鍵は何本あるんですか
2本です。1本は常に私、もう1本は親方様がお持ちでしたが、先ほどボイラー室の遺体からこ
When
れ
did you find? And when did the hell? His body was burnt. Surely the inside of his pocket would have melted the key. How? Yeah, oh my. Okay, it is burnt. Okay, that makes sense. Then he sewed it alongside his own key, which said once went to Natsui.
本来なら警察のために鍵も残すべきだったのですが、親方様より書斎の留守は必ず守るようにと仰せつけられておりましたので、
I'm sorry, Genji, but you just like digging your own grave here.
ということは金蔵さんの書斎は唯一の安全地帯というわけ。
そういうことになりますね。あの怪しげな匂いの部屋に一晩も立てこもるなど、あの部屋が一番安全で
Just
ある
sleep
こ
in
とを
Zefts.
今は認めなければならないようです。
その安全な部屋に閉じこもって
Oh,
たじい
wait,
さ
yeah,
ま、
that's a good point.
犯人は連れ出して殺してる。
He could have been hiding
絶対
though.
安全とは言い切れねえけどな。
バトラ君の説のおじい様がうまくレシートをやり過ごして自分の意思で部屋を出たと考えるなら籠城の価値はあるかもしれない。
へえ、楽観的すぎだぜ、兄貴。
However, at the same time, I thought he brought up a pretty interesting point. After all, this gives us a chance to question the enemy, the witch herself, and how the sealed door had been opened. If we assume the culprit used some technique to kidnap grandfather from his study, they'd have to show us the same trick again if they wanted to assault us in the study, and that'd give us a chance to make the culprit prove how they did it right before our eyes. If she really is a witch, we'll be forcing her to use her little magic trick to open the door right in front of us, but that's probably impossible. If you spin the chessboard around, oh my, stop, I forbid it. If she really is a witch, all she gotta do is appear in front of us and wow us with a colorful display of magic. Since she's avoided doing that, everything must be the work of a fake witch who wants us to think that she's real. Therefore, a culprit who used a technique other than magic to defeat the closed room couldn't open the door before our eyes.
じいさんの部屋ってのは 8人で押しかけても大丈夫なくらいの広さ。
はい。ベッドにソファー、毛布類もありますので、贅沢を言わなければ十分に夜を越すことが。流しにご不浄。冷蔵庫に酒棚もあります。
Liquor cabinet. I know just what Maria needs.
ひゅー、そいつはすげえぜ。しかし自分の家の中にさらに自分の家を作ったってのか。島を丸ごと買って自分の夢を全て実現しきったじい様の最後の家にしちゃ随分手。
そうですね。いつの頃からかお父様にとっては屋敷内ですら心を許せる場所ではなくなってしまったのでしょう。
そこに引きこもっていたのを私たちは嘲笑い、そして今度は私たちがそこに立てこもろうってわけだ。
Jessica spat out that words.
ジェシカちゃんは
Those words.
立てこもるより犯人を探しに行きたいという感じだね。
もちろんこっちから探しに行って見つけられるなんて思っちゃいない。結局は待つしかない。
I know. Look, Jessica, I'm usually on your side in this one, but
な
that's
らどこで
really
待ったって同
stupid.
じだろ。逃げも隠れもしない。
That's like how to die in a horror movie.
のんびり現れるのを待とうじゃねえかよ。
Horror movie
ベ
survival
アトリーチ
101.
様をよ。
現れなければ現れないで十
She
分で
keeps
す。
saying Beatrice. I think she actually believed it at this
犯
point.
人を暴くのは私たちである必要がないからです。
正論ですな。警察が来るまで危険を冒すべきではありません。
ありがとう南條先生。私はお父様の書斎に移る。確かにお父様が連れ出された可能性があり絶対の安全が保証されているわけで、しかしバトラ君の推理のお父様が何らかの方法で自ら書斎を出て外で襲われた可能性も否定できません。
Yeah, that makes sense. A while back, I proposed that strange room theory as a stopgap measure. But just as Aniva said, even though the trick would be possible, I can't explain what motive could have made grandfather sneak out to go see Beatrice. But that logic doesn't fit with the rest of it, doesn't it? Aniva hadn't pointed out that last part, but it's clear how absurd the theory was. So does that mean the sealed door formed a closed room just as Aniva claimed? Is it an undeniable fact that Natsui was the culprit? If Aniva was here now, he'd probably make that claim openly and blow my strange theory away. But that's convenient that she died. With only 2 keys, both of which were gathered here, had to be the safest place in the mansion right now. At the very least, I figured this would be better than just saying yeah. But wait, have we been safe only because we've been set up in the pillar? What if leaving that room and moving us to an unexplored location is actually more dangerous? It's useless. It's useless. Yeah, I agree. My flimsy head is about to break out in a fever. If I keep spinning the chessboard around right, yeah, you gotta stop doing that, dude. It's an addiction. When it seems like the culprit is one of the 18, I want to believe in Beatrice. And once I start believing in Beatrice, I start wanting to find the culprit amid the 18. If that keeps spinning around forever, in the end, my thoughts won't have taken one step from where they started. How far back in the past was it that Kiri-san taught me about the chessboard thing? That concept of explaining the situation by spinning it around thinking from the enemy's side. I seem to remember being so interested by it back then, I used to guide all my thinking. By the way, Kiri-san was Dad's co-worker back then. I never dreamed that she'd someday be added to her family. That's a weird thing to say at a time like this. Didn't Kiri-san tell me something once? I get the feeling he once said that while the chessboard thinking was the only way to look at things, it certainly wasn't all-powerful, and it wouldn't be good to rely on it too much. He's learned his lesson.
昔本で読んだゲーム理論というものを私なりに解釈したものよ。とても面白い学問だから、バトラ君も大学に入ったら挑戦してみるといいわよ。
ぜひやってみたいっす。それを勉強してチェス盤思考をもっと鍛えたら、どんな相手の手の内も読めるみたいで楽しいじゃないっすか。
でもね、もしゲーム理論は非常に奥深くチェス盤思考はその上辺だけを私なりに解釈した考え方に過ぎない。バトラ君が想像するほどに相手の手の内を読み切るには相当の勉強が必要よ。しかもチェス盤理論は応用の利く便利なものではあっても完璧ではない。便利ではあっても弱点が多い。
弱点
Yeah, like in Danganronpa.
チェス盤思考の基礎はゲーム理論。
Refute it.
ゲーム理論は突き詰めると数学に行き着くの。数学の弱点は何か知ってる？ ノイズよ。
It's just like Danganronpa. In math, when you write 1 plus 1 equals 2, that process will always result in 1 plus 1 equals 2, no matter how many billions of years pass. Nothing more, nothing less. That's because there's absolutely no noise mixed in. But for example, unlike math, the Japanese language has noise mixed in. Kanji are a good example. Old kanji and new kanji are slightly different, which represents an introduction of noise created by changing between time periods. Isn't history the same? There are dozens of policies that seem foolish in the modern era, but were meaningful at some point in the past. Because the rules of the chessboard are fixed, when a pair of experts are discussing one particular layout, it's possible they could reach the same conclusion whether they're from 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future. However, if the rules of the chess... That's a cool theory! I'm suddenly not bored by chessboards anymore.
人の世の事象は本来ノイズだらけなのよ。人の感情だってそうでしょ。全く同じことが起こったからといって人は必ず決められた反応を示すとは限らない。それを数学の理論で当てはめ相手の行動を読もうとする時点ですでに理論には弱点と限界があることを知らなければならない。手っ取り早く言うとチェス盤思考はノイズや気まぐれそして誤解認識ミスに非常に弱い。
See, you gotta learn that this addiction isn't good for you. That's right. Kiri-san definitely said that. Chess has always been a game where both sides play by the same rules and fight with the same conditions for victory. That's why it's possible for both sides to predict the other's moves. It's possible to read your opponent because you can always suppose they'll make the best moves they can find. But what if your opponent is a fickle or a bit tired one, and makes a move that can hardly be called the best? Or what if this game actually had a special rule, some unknown thing that only the enemy knows about and can use? In fact, what if the opponent actually has some goal other than victory? Thinking from your enemy's perspective, that's the basis of chessboard thinking, which means if you misread your enemy, the answer you draw from this process will be completely rubbish, useless. So far, I've used chessboard theory to guess several vague bits of information about the culprit hiding behind this case, or so I think. However, I don't know anything about the culprit. Am I just playing around in a labyrinth of thoughts? If Kiri-san were here at a time like this, she'd probably be able to notice something with her much sharper thinking ability. Come on, battler. Get over your addiction. Until the very last moment, Jessica resisted moving into grandfather's study, but in the end, Aunt Natsu persisted and we decided to move there. Everyone was completely wrapped in paranoia by now. Kumasawa-san had prepared dinner at one point, but during the time we were discovering the deaths of George and Nikki's parents, both the kitchen and parlor had been left empty. Someone suggested the food might have been poisoned while we were gone. Because of that, we were unable to even touch the food that Kumasawa-san had taken the trouble to make for us. The manner in which the first 6 were killed is still unknown, but certainly could have been poisoned. Certainly that would allow even a single person to carry out the murder of 6 large adults. Furthermore, this idea made it easy to imagine there being only a single culprit who had been afraid of Aunt Natsui's rifle. And this was very good for emotional stability. But the fatigue and hunger were even harsher than we'd imagined. Then Kumasawa-san made a proposal, and we all went together to the kitchen. There we gathered some canned foods and other things that would be hard to poison and take in with us. All of Kumasawa-san's efforts to reward us with just a little dinner on this savage day regrettably came to nothing. The food piled up on the serving cart, looking just a little sad. Come on, let's get back to the study. We all started climbing the stairs. Yeah, just go. Natsui, who was in the lead, really stared into the darkness with both eyes and battled. She's going crazy. She's like going a full-on Keiichi route right now with her gun. Once we dragged ourselves up to the 3rd floor, just as Aunt Natsui had warned us beforehand. There was a mixture of a chemical smell and a sickly sweet aroma, dense hanging in the air that felt like it was heating into our heads.
なるほど。こりゃ一晩もこもったら頭痛にでもなりそう。今更ながらじい様の書斎に反対したジェシカに賛成だぜ。
It felt like the stench was floating out from this magnificent door. It was the door to the forbidden study, which should defend against anyone who would enter. While Genji-san unlocked the door, Maria stared down at the door with the doorknob with great interest.
すごいドア。
古くいかめしくて冗談の通じなさそうな。いかにもじい様の書斎にふさわしい扉だ。
霊的な悪意を退け、多分ベアトリーチェはこの扉を開けられないね。
お？それどういうことだよ。
Maria pointed at the doorknob. A scorpion crest. No, it designed like a magic circle arranged around a scorpion. Oh, yeah, with the charm. that design. That's right. Isn't it like those keychain charms Maria gave Jessica and me yesterday?
火星の5の魔法陣は強力な魔除け。しかもこの魔法陣は相当丹念に作られていて、魔の者であるベアトリーチェにとってこの魔法陣はとても厄介。
それは心強い。この部屋ならベアトリーチェの魔種から逃げられるってことだろ。うちの魔女様は実に頼もしいぜ。
ならベアトリーチェはどうやって中のお
Okay,
じい
yeah,
さ
no,
まを
George has fallen victim to the
バ
Beatrice
トラが
Phantom.
推理した通り、ベアトリーチェは中に入れない。でも彼女には魔法があるし、それらを使っておじい様が自分から書斎を出てくるように仕向けることはできる。
ああ、漫画で読んだな。
Oh, I've read about that in manga
十字架が
too.
怖くて近づけねえけど、使い魔たちはへっちゃらなんで、使い魔に襲わせるみたいなシーンを読んだことがあるぜ。
バトラたちに昨日あげたサソリのキーホルダーのようなお守りも、込められている力は微々たるものだけど、この島を出るまでの間を守ってくれ。なくしちゃったそうだけどね。
サソリのキーホルダーのお守り。
昨日私が母さんに渡したお守りはドアノブにかけると魔除けになるとか言われて。
Wait, what if that's why they were...
いいかなって。
That's why the sign was on her door. The culprit tried to kill her, but to make it look like the witch, they had
そうで
to...
したか。ジェシカにしては変わったものを持っていると思っていました。
夏日おばさんがあれドアノブに。
ええ、夕べそう聞き、寝る前に扉の内側のドアノブにかけました。
なら夏日おばさんはとてもそうだったなら夕べベアトリーチェは夏日おばさんに指一本触れられなかっただろうね。
Okay, I know that, like, I'm trying to argue that witches don't exist, but if the culprit is trying to do, like, a copycat witch thing, then that would make perfect sense.
ベアトリーチェはさぞや悔しがったと思う。
Beatrice, annoyed, couldn't lay one finger. Naturally thought back to that eerie scribble she'd seen that morning, as though someone had been tearing on the outside of her door with blood-soaked hands, and gasped in surprise. Could it be that this witch who called herself Beatrice tried to enter through the door to not... But the yeah! Like, I don't think that it was magic. I think that's, like, part of the charade. And if you're wondering why I'm so arguing against that, it's because, I mean, that's kind of what Battle was arguing, and... I mean, I'll take that perspective for now.
いるのは犯人。それも私たちと同じ人間だ。それを確かめる必要があるってなら、八つ先にして血が赤いかも確認してやって。よくもカノン君を。
Genji unlocked the door. 8 people entered Kinzo's study. It's the amazing door sound. Grandfather's study. I'd heard rumors about it beforehand, so I wasn't that shocked. He had done nothing more than fortify it thoroughly with his occult hobbies. If Grandfather's hobbies had been chasing after pop idols, these walls might be buried beneath idol posters. Even I didn't understand it. I did realize that this room was a bundle of all his pastimes. Even so, I couldn't help but remain dumbfounded by the smell of his creepy medicine, the sweet stench that seemed to melt my head. Oh, and the door is shut. Oh, I don't like that. When the door is closed, it automatically made a clunk. I see. So this is the auto lock that's activated whenever the door is closed. And there were only 2 keys that could open this door from the outside, both of which were in this room. In other words, it had become a closed room. The shutter, the receipt, the chain. And now the auto lock. This 4th door had the most magnificent lock yet, and this was doubtlessly a closed room. Just to make absolutely sure that this room was secure, we checked all over for ways in and out. The window was tightly locked. That should have been enough, but in this case we tried knocking all over the walls. After all, we were talking about hidden door, yeah, but we couldn't find anything suspicious. Grandfather's study was very large. Even though we called it a study, it wasn't really a single room. It could be divided up into 4 basic sections: a study section, a bedroom section, a toilet section, and a section for cooking that had a sink. I see. The study really does have enough to live in. Now I see how Grandfather could live his whole life in this room without ever leaving. It seemed the Grandfather wasn't in the habit of watching TV because there was no television or even a radio in this room. We couldn't do anything except pass the time listening to the sound of the rain until tomorrow morning. Dr. Nanzo looked closely at the chessboard that sat on the table in front of the sofa and muttered. It was apparently the partly finished chess match he'd been playing with Grandfather until yesterday. The black had the white pretty well cornered, and it looked like the checkmate would be reached within a few moves, the last part of the endgame. Even though checkmate had almost been reached, the endgame had been rushed, and in the end was never completed.
やはりこの勝負は決着がつきま
Quick,
せんでし
put him in checkmate. He can't fight back.
南條先生
た。わしは長く金蔵さんの友人だったが、金蔵さんのことを知っている。金蔵さんにはいつも聡明な金蔵さんと何かの狂気にとらわれた金蔵さんの2人が同居していたように思う。わしは金蔵さんのことを何も理
It's
解
okay. I don't
して
think any of us
おら
did.
んかった。
特にベアトリーチェ様のことになると人が変わったようでしたっけね。
In the direction of Kumasawa-san's upward gaze, a portrait of Beatrice. Oh yeah, we gotta take it down. It wasn't massive like the one hanging in the entrance hall, but small, made for this room. Grandfather probably spent every day in this room and so much of his time talking to the witch of that portrait. Who was Beatrice to Grandfather in the first place? Right now, you couldn't just explain it away by saying it was a story made by the parents to frighten children away from wandering into the forest. While eating the canned food we brought from the kitchen, we talked together about who Beatrice was. Whether the couple was Beatrice herself or someone pretending to be her. Whether they were a real witch or a human, that was besides the point. The woman in this portrait was strongly related to the roots and background of this case. You couldn't talk about this case without talking about her.
そうだ、母さん。エヴァおばさんたちの部屋で犯人の手紙を拾ったんでしょ？
ええ、まだ開けていませんでしたね。開けてみましょう。
Oh, no, actually, took a look at the Western envelope. Genji-san pulled out a paper knife out of the drawer in the study desk and handed it to her. While watching her open it, George and Nikki grimaced slightly. After all, it was a letter left at the site where his parents had been murdered. There was a good chance its contents would say something unbearable to Nikki. Aunt Natsuyo also seemed to realize that, so she glanced over at the contents first without reading it out loud. We were a little frightened that she might grimace after reading something shocking, but she just frowned unhappily.
内容はなんと。
不愉快な一文があります。私たちを挑発するつもりなのでしょう。
Naturally, after deciding that the contents could be shown to the children, set it openly on the table. Everyone stared at it at the same time.
我が名をたたえよ。
Wait, what? Something just happened. Something just happened. What just happened? It was in tips. Where is it? Oh, what's the second letter? Yes, praise my name. No. So I just realized that in the epitaph... Wait, what? Yeah, there's next sections. Oh yeah, I thought I saw that, but, oh, yeah, there's more. Okay.
なんだよ。
I don't think the last part means anything at the moment, but I did notice that earlier, but I forgot to check it.
ベアトリーチェの勝ち名乗りみたいなものだろうね。くそ。
大方また怪しげな魔法陣でも出てくるの。
魔法陣ではなかった。想像は裏切られなかったよ。
どういう意味でしょう。自分の存在を誇示したいのでしょうか。
そう考えるのがこの手紙で初めて。私たちは昨夜の手紙の主が犯人ここに書かれている内容よりも昨夜と同じ封筒でというところに意味がある。
封筒も風浪も間違いなく親方様が使われていたものです。
But I don't think that matters.
もう私には何が何。こんなことは後宮のお家にお仕えして以来初めてのことです。
昨日の手紙の言う通りならベアトリーチェは自称じい様も常々そう口にしてたんですよね。
I spoke to Genji-san and Kumasawa-san who nodded together.
ってことはじい様の次に詳しいのは話してくれないっすか。
私は長いことわざと耳にしなくですがこの後に及んではそうも言っていられます。源氏知っている限りを話しなさい。
Tell us the story of Beatrice. Genji-san didn't answer. Did he remain silent despite his knowledge, or did he know nothing at all? Still, I had a good guess. The ghost story of the witch Beatrice had long defied among the servants. He had probably been very close to Grandfather in his occult hobbies, so there was a good chance that he'd been indoctrinated with even weirder things and had increasingly come to defy the wits. As grandfather's most trusted servants who had sworn loyalty to him, he might be the most influenced by the illusion of the wits that grandfather had created. So there was only one reason for Genji-san to remain silent. He could speak, but it would definitely cause backlash, so it's better if he kept his mouth. That's suspicious! You don't get that right anymore. A short while ago, Maria had been more than willing to speak bluntly and unrestrainedly, and that had earned her a scuffle with Jessica. It was natural for Genji-san to keep silence. His concubine. That could be possible. Fortunately, people I didn't know what that meant at first. But that isn't the case for the very rich. It's possible for them to have another lover in addition to their real life. We can't deny that possibility that grandfather had another woman in his life besides grandmother.
かもな。ばあ様は生きてた頃、よく疑ってたらしい浮気相手がいるってな。俺はてっきりそれはじい様の想像の中の魔女のことを指してるんだとばかり。
そりゃなんとも面白い。源氏さんは俺に言ったよな。ベアトリーチェはこの屋敷ができる以前からじい様に仕えてたって。
お屋敷が竣工したのは昭和27年と聞いています。
ってことはベアトリーチェという人は30年以上も昔からおじい様と連れ添っていたということになるね。
その30年前の愛人、もしくはその縁者や隠し子が何かの恨み。なるほど。洋館ミステリーっぽいありがちなストーリーになってきたじゃねえか。
汚らわしい話ですが、
not a good time to make a
一
joke.
番納得でどうですか、源氏。
If you remain silent again.
おそらく
Oh.
親が亡くなられた奥様より愛しておられたに違いありません。
ベアトリーチェってのは何者？そして今はどうしてるんだ？
Wait, why did my game freeze? Oh.
お屋敷ができるより前にお亡くなりになったと聞いています。
すでに死んでいる。
You've kept this information hidden until now?
親方様は大層深く
What
悲
the
しみ、
hell?
ベアトリーチェ様を
Dude,
蘇ら
dude,
せる
people
方
have
法
died.
として
Why did you keep this
黒
information
魔女
until
親方様
now?
はベアトリーチェ様をこのような狂気に駆り立てるほどに。
Like, I appreciate the explanation now, but that only makes you look bad. As Genji-san had said this, he spread his arms as though asking us to look at this room filled with the signs of grandfather's madness. Oh my god. We are all at a loss for words. Normally black magic seems like it would be creepy, and it's really hard to imagine why someone might be enraptured by it. Since Kinzo was just an eccentric who had restored the Ushiromiya family and missed his madness, nobody had tried to understand him. But maybe they should have. The only thing on grandfather's mind had been the loss of a beloved woman, and his inescapable sorrow. Earlier, this room had seemed creepy, but in an instant it had changed into something we could understand completely. Yeah, so the creepy... That's why he imagines he's trying to resurrect his dead wife. It looks just simply because he wanted to revive the face of a single woman who had left this world over 30 years ago. Oh, that's sad.
一度だけ深く酔われた親方様にベアトリーチェ様の詳しいことは忘れてしまいましたが、それはもう女の私が聞いて羨むような深い愛情でございます。
金蔵さんは後宮家の当主を継いだ時、当時まだ生き残っていた後宮家の長老たちの意向で亡くなった奥さんとの結婚を決められたのです。
つまり後宮家にとって得になる女性との結婚を強制された。
Oh. Yeah.
さようです。金蔵さんはお家復興のためだけに当主に据えられ。
Oh, that's sad. Oh my god, that... I feel bad for Kinzo now. He was just an old person wanting to... Oh my god. That's sad, actually.
それ以上語るのは無粋だな。
That was when her grandfather truly fell in love with her for the first time. Just how deep was his affection for her. That was easy to see just by looking around us. This room was covered with piles upon piles of things having to do with black magic, and grandfather spent every day sitting here, immersed in his research and isolated from the outside world, never regretting 1 minute of it. He couldn't help but recognize the depths of grandfather's love for Beatrice.
何をでしょうか。
私、使用人の人たちが魔女を問診するのは、じい様の気持ち悪いく違ったんだな。
By acting as though Beatrice's soul at least had been restored and existed inside the mansion, they might have hoped to soothe grandfather's hurt. With closed eyes and the expression of one remembering something from the distant past, Genji had broken his long silence. In making that confession, he probably felt he was betraying his only master in the most serious way, even though that person was already dead. Beatrice had revived as her wits, and she is in the mansion even now. Genji had said it, had believed it, had made people believe it. And who would take that with him to a grave? This might have been the last service he could offer up to his master. The legend of the wits, the mysterious tale of Rokenzima that was still whispered amongst the servants. Its true nature was a sad lie. No, it was an act of kindness towards grandfather who had lost the person he loved above all else.
私はお父様の前で今ならそれがどれだけお父様を傷つけていたか
今の僕にならわかるよ。シャノンを蘇らせる方法が僕は今すぐにもこの部屋の次の主となって研究を兄貴。
Another strand of tears dripped from George's eyes. Maybe his tears were infectious. Tears rose to Jessica's eyes too, and she sniffled.
ベアトリーチェは言っていたい。もうじき蘇ることができ、会うことができるって。
Very soon, the door to the Golden Land will be opened. In the promised land that glitters gold, the souls of all the dead will be resurrected along with the love that has been lost. Then I will sleep in a world with peacefulness for all time.
そう言ったのか。マリアに手紙を渡したベアトリーチェは。
信じないよね。
ここにじい様がいたならきっと喜んだろうな。もうじきベアトリーチェが蘇ることにさなら俺は信じた。じい様が半生をかけて研究したことで蘇り、愛した女の魂が蘇ったと信じて寿命を全うできるって言うんなら。
バトラー。
一人の女性をずっと愛し続けた気持ちが
That sucked! Look, I just absolutely loved it. Oh my god.
それを気遣いと呼べばそれまでだろうけれど、今の僕はあえてそれを魔法
Oh
と呼
my
んであ
god.
げたいね。
The fact that they're like, magic is love.
気遣いじゃないよ。本当に魔法だよ。
Oh my god, Maria, stop
魔女だよ。
ruining this moment.
やっぱり誰にもベアトリーチェの姿は見えないんだね。
Some time passed. As he listened to the sound of the rain, we considered what kind of a love and madness must have possessed the owner of this dream as he spent half of his life here. And we are going to end here. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like, subscribe, this is great appreciated. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye.